It's a pleasure for me to introduce this particular symposium, the Symposium on Enhancing Professional Learning and New Professionalism. Perhaps I should introduce myself. I'm Bart McGettrick, and I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Education at Liverpool Hope University. And indeed, the symposium itself is a symposium which is going to focus on some research and thinking that is being done in Liverpool Hope University. And my colleagues will discuss their research in some detail in the course of the first part of this symposium. I should say that I see a symposium as an opportunity not to provide research that is complete in all its different aspects, but rather to raise issues within this forum on how we might discuss some particular aspects of the research that we're doing on aspects of what we're calling a new professionalism. Perhaps just to begin the afternoon, I should say that within Liverpool Hope University we have a view of teacher education which is very much derived from a vision we have for the Faculty of Education, and that vision is one which emphasises the importance that education is about the humanising of individuals and society through education, making people, helping people, supporting people, encouraging people to be more human. In other words, we're not driven by some set of external benchmarks and indicators and league tables and standards. Of course, we pay attention to those, but we're not driven by them. We're driven by a vision that is about humanising society and humanising individuals. And I think that is quite an important starting point for this particular symposium, because what we're trying to do is to explore how research can inform that kind of development. What we're particularly looking at is the idea of a new professionalism, and we believe that that idea of a new professionalism is based on relationships and it's about change, and it's about change in people, it's about helping people. We firmly take the view that education is to be found in the hearts and minds of people. And that, I think, is an important orientation, because what it also recognises is that uncertainty and ambiguity play a part in how we educate people. It's very difficult to be precise these days in what kind of education we might have and what kind of knowledge we might have. And so it raises questions about what kind of knowledge will best serve teachers now and in the future. What are the skills, the values, the attributes which will be required in their professional lives? And the research that we're doing is exploring some of that. We recognise that teacher education is a very important part of education, where that education is trying to influence the other, not in a controlled way, but rather just trying to influence the other, and that the truth of the other and of the self are always different. And what we're also very much aware of is that we've got to build in talents and gifts of the students and of staff and of people in the community. So that teacher education is concerned with transformation, a word that you'll hear quite a lot of in the course of the next hour or so. And that transformation is to help people grow, to help them flourish in every way they can, and flourish so that they might offer hope and care to others. And that is very much part of what Liverpool Hope University is about. It's about caring for people, it's about giving a sense of hope, it's giving a sense of people being developed as human beings. And so the questions that face us are questions about how do we look at that from a research point of view? So this symposium will try to explore some of that. It will try to explore some of the issues about change, particularly in programs in initial teacher education, how these are being researched and how that research helps us to better understand the nature of knowledge within the changing professional and academic knowledge that there is, and recognizing the different contexts that there are. So what we intend to do is to have essentially 4 presentations, 4 interrelated presentations. We'll have the first from Dr. Joan Walton, who will talk about some of the broad context of the inquiry that we're undertaking. We will then have Dr. Tanya Hathaway talking about the research inquiry, particularly what is the piece of research that we're undertaking. And within that, there will be a creative representation of the results by my colleagues, Tim Griffiths, Deirdre Hewitt, Bernie Hughes and Dan James, who will look at how we present results through drama and music. And that, I hope, will be of some interest to you. And then looking at what are the central concepts that we're researching and what action might flow from them. So that's what we intend to do. These are interrelated parts of the project. They try to encapsulate what we're about. And one of the things, of course, that I have to reflect on is how can research inform policy and practice in a university these days? And we can perhaps discuss that as part of the symposium later on. So I'd like to begin by looking at the broad context of the inquiry that are being undertaken. Dr. Joan Walton will talk a little about that. Joan is the person who is directing one of the centres in the Faculty of Education. We have 5 research centres in the faculty. Joan is directing the Centre for the Child and the Family, and that's one of the particular orientations for our research. And perhaps I could ask Joan if she would come and talk to us. Joan.
Bear with me